Hello all, welcome to Advanced Engineering Physics lecture series. This is Unit 3 Quantum Computing, first lecture by Dr. S. Deepthi, Assistant Professor in Physics, Department of H&S, MLR Institute of Technology. So in this video lecture, what you are going to learn? Just introduction of quantum computing. What we have learned till now we have learned in second unit about quantum mechanics, how the quantum world is being there and how can we do with the quantum world. Now we are going to learn how these quantum mechanical principles works with the computers. Simple, right? So what about this one? The quantum computing is a revolutionary field of quantum computation that introduces principles of quantum mechanics. Quantum computation means quantum mechanics involves in it, right? So to process the information in fundamentally two ways. So unlike classical computers, what are classical computers? First of all, what is a classical computer? A classical computer means which uses the bits, binary bits, basically zeros and ones. Likewise, a quantum computer has its specifically, we can say about it has a qubits. Okay, let us dwell into that. Unlike classical computers like your phone, laptop, these are the classical computers that we are using today, that one uses to store the information 0 or 1, right? Quantum computers uses qubits or quantum bits, which leverage exotic quantum mechanical phenomena to perform calculations. By exploring these quantum phenomena, quantum computers are theorized to solve certain classes of complex problems such as factorizing large numbers. That is, we will show in Shor's algorithm, searching unstructured databases, Groover's algorithm, and stimulating molecular systems far faster than any supercomputer today. The hardware, the qubits and the logic gates, the operations are built to physically manipulate the core behaviors of matter at atomic and subatomic level. So what we have learned in the quantum computation, in quantum mechanics, we have learned about atomic and subatomic levels, right? So in this quantum computation, by using the principles of quantum mechanics, we are going to leverage what we can solve easy problems by using quantum mechanics in a faster way. So see here, here a bit is there. The classical computing. The classical computing uses zeros and 1. Yes, right? We have already studied in computers. What is the basic unit? That is bit. Bit consists of zeros and ones, on and off. Likewise, what is the quantum computing or qubit? Quantum computation uses qubits. This is 0 and 1. So there is a small difference. 0 or 1 in classical computers, 0 and 1 in quantum computers. This is the a little bit, even though it sounds a little bit tricky, but this is the fact that quantum computers uses 0 and 1 and 1. Okay, remember that. Next, quantum computation. Quantum computation gains its computational power by directly implementing and exploiting 3 counter-initiative principles derived from quantum mechanics. So, what are the 3 counter-initiative principles? First is principle of superposition. First one. Next one is entanglement. Okay. And the third one is interference. Okay. These are the 3 major topics. First one is what we supposed to get into our mind, that is superposition. So first one is superposition. Next one is entanglement. Okay. Remember the words. And the third one is interference. So the interference you might have learned in your intermediate and all, right? So let us dwell into these 3. So what is this one, superposition? The concept of superposition states that like a wave, a quantum system can exist in a linear combination of all possible states simultaneously until it is measured. Okay. So remember that. So what is a wave-like nature? A wave means this is a wave. General representation, this is a sinusoidal wave. So wave is a sinusoidal in nature which is having a crest and a trough, right? A wave, generally we'll think like that. What is superimposition of wave? When a wave superimposes on one another means when a wave lies on one another. That means if a wave superimposes like this is the superimposition. One wave superimposes on one another and so on. What happens to it? It results in a wave with larger amplitude, right? By saying we can say a wave with larger amplitude and so on. So, this is the concept of superposition. We can apply the concept of superposition to the bits, quantum bits. Okay, what are the bits we are taking? 0 and 1 itself. Okay, so we are taking only 0 and 1, and we can take zeros and ones and their superposition until they are measured. If we toss a coin, for example, if we toss a coin, what happens? A coin is tossed like this, and can we know whether the coin will be heads or tails? At that moment, we can't know. We are unable to tell that it will surely definitely fall into heads or it will surely definitely fall into tails. But it will fall into either heads or tails. But can we see the surety? We can't see the surety until unless it reaches our hand or it reaches our ground. If it reaches our ground, then if we see the coin, then only we can recognize that whether it is a head or a tail. Until then, we can have heads and tails. Likewise, zeros and ones both can occur at a time, right? So see, classical bit. A bit is either 0 or 1. Quantum bit. A qubit state is given by psi. We can say 0 or 1 or combination of both at a time, at the same time. Okay, so psi can be modulus of psi can be, we'll explain about this in later. So this psi is equals to alpha 0 plus beta 1. So this is called as get 0 and get 1. We'll explain in the next slide. Okay, where alpha square plus beta square is equals to 1. The probability of getting is equals to 1. What do you mean by probability? That means each and every time we'll get either of them simultaneously. Okay, so this is where we are supposed to see here alpha square plus beta square is equals to 1. Never it will be having 0 state. That means it will be always in the higher state. Higher state means if we switch on the light, for example, if we switch on the light, we can have our light at one time, and if we are not supposed to have the light, we can switch off the light. 0 and 1. Switch on means 1. Switch off means 0. Okay. So, if for suppose there is a necessity that the light should be there throughout. Okay, what we'll do? We'll arrange some sensors or something so that the light we are going to have the light throughout. That means if the light is being throughout, we'll get the light in our required time. So that is what is the superposition. No half state will be there in the superposition, even though it is in the half position, but we'll get the light also. That is what is the quantum mechanical superposition and the qubit superposition is. That is what the alpha square plus beta square is equals to 1 means. Okay, so computational advantage. Now with this one, what is the computational advantage? When n qubits are in superposition, they can effectively represent 2 power n possible values simultaneously. 2 power n possible values can occur simultaneously. This allows a quantum computer to explore many solutions to a problem in parallel, a phenomenon called as quantum parallelism. So remember this quantum parallelism word. Okay. Next, entanglement. So the second one is entanglement. What is entanglement? See here, there is a one picture is there over here. In this one, let us say you have two entangled balls. Okay, So each is in its own box. What is this ball color? The ball is having two colors. One is yellow one side. This side is yellow side. This side is red side. Okay, this is yellow side. This is red side in the same ball. Okay, so now in this metaphor, the balls can be either yellow or red once observed. For now, they are in the state of superposition, or both yellow and red at the same time. So this fellow is telling that it is yellow. She might have observed. This fellow might have observed this is red. This is yellow. Okay. This fellow on observing, she says mine is red. This fellow on observing, mine is red. So the objects connected even where vast distances. Scientists think the entangled objects are really being a single object. So what do you mean that? Okay, let us now explore this one. So on seeing, a person can see both the colors at a time, or if the ball rolls. If the ball rolls, if the ball is like this, which is having red this side and this is having yellow this side. If the ball rolls, if at a glance, if I see, I can see the red color. The other person who is also observing observes the same red color, then these two are said to be entangled with one another. Okay. So, if the person is observing this yellow color, this is the yellow color. This yellow color ball is observing by the first person. Let us consider if I am observing the yellow color. The other person is also observing the other person. If the other person also observes the same yellow color, that is the entanglement. Simply, that is the entanglement. Okay. So, let us have the definition. Entanglement is the heart of quantum physics, future quantum technologies. Okay. Like other aspects of quantum science, the phenomena of entanglement reveals itself at a very tiny subatomic scales. When two particles, such as pair of photons or electrons, become entangled, they remain connected even though separated by vast distances. Remember that. In the same way that a ballet or tango emerges from individual dancers, entanglement arises from a connection between the two particles. Okay, it is what scientists call as emergent property. This is entanglement. Okay. Next, quantum interference. What is interference? Quantum interference is a process used to turn the simultaneous explorations of many possibilities, superposition, into single or correct answer. This is where the computation is steered. Wave-like nature. Since qubits behave like a waves while in superposition, their probability amplitudes can interfere with each other. Okay. So see here, see the diagram. This is the double slit experiment, Young's double slit experiment that you might have already studied in your intermediate. So in Young's double slit experiment, what we can do when we send an electron beam gun, electrons through the gun, or when we send the light waves. Simply, what happens to the two slits? The two slits are going to encourage the incoming waves, and the incoming waves are going to superimpose after this stage. At this stage, they are going to superimpose on one another in a different patterns. Okay. So, for suppose here. The waves are like this. Whenever superimposes on another wave, when a crest of one wave falls on crest of another wave, and the trough of one wave falls on the trough of another wave, then what happens? It clearly gives us the dark band. Okay, so it clearly gives us the bright band, bright in nature. This is the dark band. This is the bright band. Okay. So this is the dark band, this is the bright band. How the dark band is formed? When a wave oppositely superimpose. That means when a wave superimposes, crest falls on trough or trough falls on a crest. Then what happens? It results in the formation of dark band. Okay. So the interference results in the formation of bright and dark bands of equal fringe width. This is what the finally will get the entire figure will be like this. Okay, this is the superposition of the states. Then what is the connection between these superposition, the wave nature of light to the quantum phenomena, and why we are discussing this quantum in quantum computation? This interference results because of wave nature of what we can say wave nature of qubits. Okay, so what is the computational advantage? Quantum algorithms are designed to cause the wave functions corresponding to the correct answers to undergo the constructive interference, amplifying their probability, and those corresponding to incorrect answers undergoes destructive interference. So once again, let us consider this one. Quantum algorithms. What we have done? We have designed quantum algorithms based on what is the basis? Based on the wave functions, the cause of wave functions corresponding to the correct answers. If it is the correct answer, undergoes to the constructive interference, amplifying their probability. If and those corresponding to the incorrect answers undergo destructive interference, cancelling property. This ensures that when the final measurement is made, the most likely results in the correct solution. Okay, this is what we can say about us, about our quantum computation. So what is here? Here the feature is basic unit. The basic unit is data processing. In classical computation, we will use bit or 0 or 1. This is sequential or deterministic. Okay, qubit 0 or 1 are superposition of the both zeros and ones. This is simultaneous and probabilistic. So the data processing is sequential and deterministic in what we can say classical computers, what we are now using. So in quantum computation, what is it? It is going to happen. It is going to happen such that it is simultaneous and it is probabilistic also. Okay. Now scaling power. Linear n bits equivalent to n calculations, n bits equivalent to 2 power n states. Okay, it will give us 2 power n states. Now what is this underlying math? Boolean algebra and logical gates. Underlying math is linear algebra, unitary matrices and quantum gates here. So hardware state, relatively stable and robust and extremely fragile, requires nearly absolute zero temperatures to prevent decoherence, loss of quantum state. So the majorly quantum mechanics is being developed. Okay, and we are now supposed to develop the quantum mechanics, quantum mechanical quantum computation, and it requires absolute zero temperatures. Okay, a neat clean room to keep the computers, and so the computers need not look our original computers are desktop and so on, and so they are being developed. Okay, this is about the introduction of quantum computers. Let us see the what are the again the quantum computers. Quantum computers are not expected to replace the classical computers for general tasks, but are designed to tackle specific computationally complex problems where they offer exponential speed up. Okay, so nevertheless, we are not supposed to replace the classical computer or whatever we are using the computers with the quantum computers. Okay, so but they are expected not expected to replace, but they are used to solve the complex problems. Okay, cryptography. Breaking current public key encryption systems. Example, using Shor's algorithm and creating new unhackable quantum safe encryption. Okay, so there are so many hackers that are hacking about the that are hacking our data and so on. So to prevent the hackers, we can create we can use quantum computers. Okay, quantum stimulation and material science. Accurately modeling molecular structures, chemical reactions and properties of new materials. Example, high temperature superconductors, new battery chemistries that are too complex for classical computers. Optimization, finding the best solution for vast set of possibilities applicable to logistics, route optimization, financial modeling and traffic flow. Machine learning through quantum AI. accelerating the training of machine learning models and creating a new types of quantum enhanced algorithms. The exponential increase in processing power as qubits are added makes quantum computing a potentially transformative technology for science and industry. So these are the few applications that we can talk, and we can go across the in our next slides. Okay. So in this video lecture, what you have learned about? You have learned about the introduction of quantum computing. In the next video lecture, you are going to learn about linear algebra for quantum computing. Thank you.